Welcome back to the Stressful to Successful podcast with your co-host Tiffany, Chasson, and myself, Jaden D'Amico. On our previous episode, we had Joseph Travers, the founder of something absolutely amazing. It's called Saved in America. It's a 501c3, otherwise known as a nonprofit organization that literally rescues children from trafficking, sexual trafficking, drug trafficking, runaways. Runaways is where it began.
I had no idea. Honestly, this episode really opened my eyes, and I know that may sound a little bit crazy, but everyone in America just thinks that they're super safe. We're in a first world country. You know, women have rights. Parents seem like everything seems to be, we're like in our own little bubble. But especially if you live by a border, which we live in San Diego right now, we're right by the Mexican border. I think Joseph also said it was San Diego, Texas, and Florida, I believe, were like the three most dangerous places in terms of trafficking.
And apparently the Super Bowl.
There's that, well, any big events, right, where kids are running away from not running away, but like leaving their parents. But I definitely think it was interesting because he said that he primarily deals with kids that have run away from home, primarily females between like 11 and 15, it seemed like, which is crazy to think about. Because when I was growing up, when my parents were like, don't talk to strangers, especially like, you know, in white vans or whatever it may be.
Free candy.
Our police are too good to like for somebody, a bad person to just, you know, kidnap you. That doesn't usually happen anymore. Like you see in the movies. Usually it's the kid that runs away, you know, for whatever reason. Maybe, you know, they're going through different changes in life. They're hormonal. Maybe they had a fight with their parents. Maybe some kid at school made them mad or whatever. And they're like, I want to be an adult, or I just need space. And they run away. When kids are at a fragile position like that, it doesn't take much for them to be like, oh, like you think I'm pretty, or, oh, like you want to hang out, or you want to promise me, you know, like we'll go to the beach and I can talk to somebody else that isn't my parents or isn't a friend. That's the issue. It's when kids are at a volatile point. That's when the danger happens. Not usually just like a person in a white van kidnapping the kid, which is usually that's what I assumed.
Yeah, that's probably still a thing once in a blue moon.
But it's not the normal. It's not what's going on.
No. A lot of children that go missing have to fall back on parents, on whether the parents are going through a divorce right now and they're not doing a very good job going through that divorce. They're getting the child in the middle. One of the things I do want to bring up is that actually is if you're a parent and you may think about divorcing, you know, your husband or wife, whatever it may be, keep the kids out of it. I grew up in that. It seemed a few times, and it's not fun for the kids. It's not fun at all. It creates some definite mental fucking damage. And I really do think that parents should have these discussions privately with each other, have arguments privately with each other. Okay. I mean, don't go in your bedroom and start yelling at each other because
you can hear.
Yeah, you can hear. It's just freaking drywall. Okay. And your kids are in the downstairs, whatever. They're listening, and they're going to talk with their friends, and my mom and dad are arguing about this. Like, no, happy thoughts, okay? Mom and dad are splitting up, all right? It's for the better for you guys personally, right? But even before getting married, you need to ask each other one of these simple questions. Tiffany, you know where I'm going to lead in here. What is your parenting style? How were you raised as a kid yourself? Because how you were raised as a child, you got a good 50% chance that, you know, you're going to be raising your child the same way, whether it's good or bad. But you need to be with a partner who sees eye to eye in these things, for in the case that you guys don't work out, in the case that you guys go for a divorce, in the case that you have children and all of the above is happening at the same time, you can then work together as a team and not send your child to dad or mom's house who does the complete opposite style of parenting that you do. And then you get your child back in your house and you're all upset and pissed off because Timmy ain't acting right.
I need a second to process that. It was a little fast, but yes. I also think you've said this before, and it's not just on the parent, but it's also like, we've discussed this quite a bit, where it's like, okay, if your child is acting up, don't scream at them, don't punish them. Figure out what is the root of the problem. Is it because the parents are arguing? Is it because they're having a tough time in school and, they're failing all their tests and they feel like shit? Is it because they're being bullied? Is it because, they don't feel confident in their own skin? Like we were talking about this, like even a couple of days ago, where it's like, when kids are acting up, you punish them. You ground them, you put them in timeout, you give them more chores to do.
Wrong.
But in reality, what do you like? And that's where you need to be your child's best friend. You're not supposed to be your child's best friend, but in this situation is when you're supposed to act like your child's best friend. How can I help you? How can we fix this? How can I be your support?
Now, best friend is a light term. Okay. I know what you're trying to say, Tiff. Be supportive.
Meaning like that they can come to you, like how kids go to their best friends to, talk to them about everything. Like, have them trust you enough to tell you everything that's going on.
Yes.
Because that's the problem. When kids are scared of their parents, or they're scared of whatever's going on, they don't know what to do. They don't know who to go to. So they run away.
They run off. They meet some freaking schmuck at a mall who's like 20 something years old and they're 16. And oh my goodness, it just goes down from there, dudes. You need to really build a relationship first with your partner, okay? Build a healthy foundation relationship before you go through the marriage process and get them engaged and all that jazz. Make sure you guys see eye to eye on a whole bunch of stuff, okay? Religious beliefs, political beliefs, how you're going to raise your children, beliefs, financial things, all the things that you could potentially argue about in the future. Get that shit cleared away in the beginning. So that way it's all memories and building and fun and happy-go-lucky shit, okay? The next thing is children. If you're going to be raising your children, you need to do it in such of a way that's beautiful, relaxed, chill, not so damn violent in their face. Order. If your kid is up in the, I've seen like parents, and it just makes me so sick. I'm hungry, and they come into the room and it's like 10 o'clock at night or 9 or 8 or whatever. They just had dinner. I'm hungry. Oh, well, what the hell? It's late. You're not eating. Blah, 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 blah. Go back in your room. Go do it yourself. Go grab this. Go grab that. Like, why are you yelling at them? Your child is coming to you because they're hungry. So get up off of your fucking ass and help your child to the kitchen and make them something to eat. Simple as that, right? If your child is, if you don't do these simple things, to be honest, if you don't like get eye to eye, like say your child lost Batman. I use this one quite often, especially with you. Say when we first met, when we had these discussions ourselves, actually. Child loses Batman. Okay.
A toy.
Child loses Batman the toy. Okay. And child is extremely upset, crying his damn eyes out. What the heck is that child going to do? It's the biggest problem in the whole world right now for this child. Doesn't have to worry about taxes or any of this other crap or getting fired from a position. Batman's lost. Cry. Most parents, stop crying. Quiet down.
Be a man.
It's just a
toughen
toy.
up.
The damn kid's 4. How about you do this? Here's a new beautiful redirection. Gain your child's trust, love, and respect and all that jazz, right? Hey, little child, what happened? I lost Batman. Wham. Freaking wham. Oh, shoot. Yeah, set an example. Sometimes I lose things like Batman. And sometimes it makes me upset too. How would you like it if we try to find Batman together? Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? You're eye to eye, you're on your knee talking to this little toddler. This kid loves the hell out of you now. You're going to go help him find Batman? Now you're on a fun mission to go find Batman. Redirection, baby. Like, here's another fun one that I see often. You're out in public. Kid spills a drink. I can't believe it. You knocked it over. You got it on the French fries.
Not the French fries.
Not the French fries. I'm upset. And yell, shout, scold in public.
It's really not that big of a deal.
Dude, when you spill your own frickin' drink in public, are you yelling at yourself? Or are your friends busting your balls right now about that stuff? No. Get back on the kid's level. Hey, you spilled your drink. Shoot.
Let's go ask for some napkins and clean it up.
And let's go guess what we can do with these magic little cups. Refill.
It's really not like people just, I feel like it's really just how you react to situations. And I also think it's interesting too, because a lot of what Joseph does with Saved in America is he deals with a lot of kids that are in their puberty years, right? When, their bodies are changing, they're not fully feeling confident in their own skin. I definitely did not feel confident at 13, 14 years old.
No one does. You see kids walking around wearing freaking hoodies and sweatpants when it's 95 degrees outside just because they're embarrassed by their body.
So that is not a time when you should be, yelling at your kids. And that's not a time when you should, what was interesting what Joseph said too is kind of what you were saying about the end of the world. A lot of kids, me included, went through a lot of different friendships, lots of different friends, whatever, in my mid-teens, where, a good friend stopped talking to me for no reason. Like out of the blue, just decided I'm not their friend anymore, whatever. For a 14-year-old girl, that hits hard. That is terrible. That is like one of the worst things that could happen. Not being dramatic. Like that's their whole world. Like their friends are their whole world. So when you kind of, as, a different friend or a parent, you have to understand that is like a massive, that explodes their world.
It's a big blow.
So we need, like, even just as a society, we need to realize that, like, we need to be more gentle to people, especially, you don't know what people are going through. And it's not even just for young kids. You don't know what the person across the street is going through. You don't know, like, if they had a really bad week or, like, they have somebody sick in their family or they're going through a financial hardship. So when people are super rude, like, even you're going to order a coffee, like, why can't you just smile and be nice? I'm not asking you to, give them money. I'm not asking you to do anything crazy, but just be nice and just be like, how was your day or whatever it may be. Because you being rude or you, like, acting out, lashing out, whatever, or why-ever, or whatever your reason may be, has negative impacts. Like, not just on yourself, on other people.
Yep.
And I think that was really important with what Joseph was saying, about, really just kind of coming and understanding and being like, okay, like, let's make sure as parents or as close friends or as relatives, what is going on? Like, is it like, tell me about your friends. Tell me about, like, how your day was. Like, actually, how was your day?
Like, I want to cover 2 points that are going to tee you off of what you just said. Okay. So, child has a rough day at school. You told your child, ordered your child, suggested to your child to clean the house when they get home. You're at work. Kid was at school. Quotations, work for a toddler, right? Kid gets home. Man, had a crap day. Got bullied, got punched in the nuts. Who knows what happened to this kid, right? And you get home from your long day at work. House is not clean. What the heck, kid? The house isn't clean. Yada, 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 blow, blow, blow. Right? You got to understand, man, that the kids are at the school. Okay? They're going through their school stuff. You've had it. You've been there. You forget. Now, here's my time to remind you. Okay?
Middle school is a scary place.
It is. High school is a freaking scary place. Hell, elementary was a scary place. Everything's scary, right? They're new, they're learning, and they may have their small stresses to you may not mean much. Your big stresses to them may not mean much. You've got to understand each other, okay? And the reason this is a separate topic, separate, same topic, second topic, whatever.
You're really giving yourself a tongue twister.
I really am. What earlier in the podcast a few moments ago, we had said exactly what you should probably be doing if you have a child, right? To make sure they don't run away when they get older. Now,
not that we have that experience, but
yes, and I was going to recap on that. We don't have children, right? But here's the thing. You can't be saying to us, what are these people? They don't have kids. Wait till you're a parent. All these damn things that I hear, but that's coming from the same freaking families who are shitty parents, who are not there, who are not doing the exact same thing that they should be.
But
not all the time.
We need to reiterate, though, it's not all just due to negative parenting is why these kids go missing. It is not.
It's not.
But I think
it's a big part.
It's a big part, and I think it's also like just you can be a great parent in your eyes, like, do say all the right things, be a nice, have a good relationship with your partner, all that stuff.
And the kid could be just off the rails, absolutely nuts and crazy, and it's a happy medium, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's kind of similar to like a puppy. I've heard parents say this. That's why I'm saying it back. Don't yell at me in the comments. Is if you train a puppy properly in the beginning, what to and to not do, etc., and you're not just babying that puppy, like be there. Don't baby's an interesting word, right? So if you're like the puppy pees on the carpet,
More so ignoring the problems. I think, is the right word.
No, redirection. Do that. Then the child will develop better. Instead of when the child buds in, get down on the kid's level. Say, hey, I'm talking right now with somebody. Can you say, please stand over there and wait? Eventually, the child's going to get that, and he's going to start nudging on the shoulder or on the hip area, most likely, saying, hey, excuse me, and you'll say, hey, not right now. I'm busy. We're having a conversation. That kid will go sit quietly. I've witnessed it. I've talked to the mother who had done this with her child. The kid is freaking Picasso. You know who you are if you even hear this podcast. I doubt it, but we don't talk anymore. Anyway, so one thing that I want to cover is this. If you're not there with your child, like in a mental aspect of like how they get you, you get them, you guys are key.
Level of trust.
What happens? What did you do when you weren't level of trust with your parent? Sneak out, maybe? Go smoke pot out of an apple? Walk down the street, meet people, get yourself involved in stupid situations that you may regret? Well, wouldn't it be nice if the whole world was kind of more like trusting with your parents versus sibling, or parents versus child? Sorry, even sibling shit. If you and your child are just eye to eye on everything, you don't have to sneak out. You don't have to worry about where your kid's going. You guys have this beautiful like family picture, like you guys, Tiffany. Your mom and your father did a fantastic job raising you guys. Can I tell them a little about your family?
Okay, go for it.
So Jennifer and Jonathan, and I don't know how they did it, but I'm guessing this is how they did it. Is what we were talking about.
I'm one of 5, by the way.
I want to ask Tiffany some questions here. Tiffany.
Oh no.
Have you ever been grounded before?
No.
Has Harmony ever been grounded before?
No.
Presley, Autumn.
No.
Carter?
No.
That's 5 kids, never been grounded. If you want to go somewhere and you ask your parents, what do they say?
Usually they say yes. And if they say no, they usually give me an explanation as to why.
Okay. And if you're hungry at night, what and you when you were a kid, or if you see everyone else, what does Autumn do when she's hungry? If mom and dad aren't around or whatever.
Well, Autumn is very self-sufficient. She makes herself stuff. She asks me every morning if she can make me breakfast or lunch.
She's 10 going on 30.
She's literally the most special child ever. Quite honestly, I've never in my life, like all of her friends, they're great, but they are not on the same maturity level as her or have the same heart as her. She's something else. But I think it's partly like getting to the root of the problem or whatever it may be. Like there's been times when I've been hungry, but it's like, am I actually hungry? Or, is it more so like I really want dessert? My mom's like, okay, well, if you're actually hungry, I'll make you food. But if you just want like cake or, sugar, that's not good to have at 10 o'clock at night. So if you're actually hungry, I'll make you food. So you're not, we're not trying to come up with unhealthy habits here.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're actually hungry, like I'll make you like a meal, not let's have chips or let's have, candy or whatever. Like that's not after 8 o'clock. Like that was always a thing where like we weren't really allowed to have that. But if you're actually hungry, then we'll make you actual food. So I think there's a distinction between those two things where, if it's just to be all sugared up and, dessert time, that's really a really unhealthy habit. And I think it's fine once in a while, but it's really unhealthy. So if you're actually hungry, you shouldn't be eating that anyways.
No.
Have
a carrot.
No, but like have a salad, have protein, have pasta, like whatever, but have it be like at least like have some sort of nutrients that isn't like cake. Chocolate cake. Preferably I would love chocolate cake, but
so ultimately I'm going to say this once more in case you didn't get it. All right. Be eye to eye with your kids. The world sees it. You should see it yourself. You don't want your kids to sneak out later on. You need to build that relationship with them, and it starts now.
Okay,
As soon as they're born.
So we've talked now about how to prevent your child from running away, but if you can't control everything, not everything is in your control, things get out of hand. Joseph created a company called Saved in America, which is quite incredible. Do you want to touch on it a bit?
Yeah. So Saved in America, you can find them at savedinamerica.org. Listen to the previous episode. It's phenomenal.
Phenomenal's it's very eye-opening and very, it's heavy. It's a heavy episode.
It's a heavy episode. If you listen to it, you get it. I'll skip over a little bit here. So, get off track sometimes. So basically what it is, it's a team of private investigators, Navy SEALs, retired law enforcement, things like that basically find the children who are runaways or who have become sex trafficked.
In America.
And I think sometimes other countries, but most of the cases are in America.
I think he said they're all American
yeah,
children
saved in
that
America.
may have
gone over
to Mexico, or they were in the process of being sold to Mexico, and he's found some of those children and brought them home, which is incredible. I think the craziest thing for me to wrap my head around, quite honestly, is when, say, a child goes missing. Usually children are different than adults, but say a child goes missing and you report it, like a missing persons report or a missing person report to the police. The police don't have the resources, the money, the time, like, to invest in, going out there and tracking down all the children. They'll put them on a database and they'll keep an eye out, but they're not actively looking for these kids. No. So Joseph came up with or created this non-for-profit to help. He's not saying that he is law enforcement. He's aiding with law enforcement, working hand in hand to help really get these children home, because he has the resources. He has these Navy SEALs. They dedicate their time. They have the people that help track them down. They're working with these people, and it's just really incredible what they're doing.
And we will have a Navy SEAL on the podcast here soon and over the next few weeks. Just keep an eye out for that. So he talks a lot about on how to prevent your child from becoming a runaway. Okay, he talks about what to do. Now, here's a fun thing that Tiffany likes as well.
Yeah,
all phones have tracking devices put in them. Apple has Find My. I don't know if Android does. Don't have an Android, but if it does, it does.
Well, there's all these separate apps too that you can download, but like Find My iPhone.
Don't take your don't take your kid's phone away from them. That is the worst and most stupid freaking punishment you could do for a child, is taking their phone away from them. This is the only device that can be tracked if your child is ever taken. Point. Period. Blank. That's it.
But you should definitely be regulating what's on their phone, because just as you can track them, other people can track them. Like Snapchat, if you will let Snapchat use your location, people can see on Snap Maps, where you are at any given time. And if you don't have it set for just your friends, it could be some random strangers that are seeing your kid's location. That, and like we were talking about dating apps, which is quite scary. Like the concept of, meeting strangers online, which has worked out for a lot of people, but it's terrifying. Like you're going to let your kid go on a date from Tinder or Bumble or whatever. Make sure like you have their location, their friends have their location, because you don't know.
I mean, yeah, even then, I mean, when someone is taken, okay, a child is taken away, the phone is the first thing. Criminals aren't stupid. They toss the phone. They toss their kid's phone, the kid's phone. Bye-bye, over a bridge, wherever, into a lake, because they know that it can be tracked. And why the hell would I have this kid have a phone? Well, I'm trying to take him, right? So to prevent these things is obviously just always have their phone on them, know where they're going, have that relationship with your kid where they don't have to freaking lie to you about where they're going to go or sneak out and things like that. That's the whole bottom line here, to prevent your child from becoming sexually trafficked. Okay. Another thing is, well, Tiffany, I think you were going to say something. What was on your mind?
Well, I thought it was interesting too, with where we live, being by the border. I had no idea that, and I don't think you did either, but the Mexican cartel obviously most people know they run the drugs. They run all that sort of stuff. They're smuggling drugs into the U.S. and running all of the crazy stuff that goes on in Mexico. But I didn't realize they basically own the border. Own in quotations, but they run the border. So, and now they've taken it upon themselves as well to be in charge of human trafficking, child trafficking, sexual exploitation. So it was very scary, but eye-opening for me as well, where Joseph was talking about, you know, and we tried not to be political on the podcast last episode, but obviously like certain people believe in borders being open, borders being closed, but we're not talking about political. We're talking about facts right now. When the borders are open or freely open, we're giving permission for the cartels to bring over more drugs, bring over more harm into the United States. And the interesting aspect of this as well, Saved in America mostly fully deals with bringing American children back. But there is this concept of the American dream, right? We want our families to have a better life, our children to have a better life. So kids from overseas in third world countries like Guatemala will say, oh my gosh, like I've saved up a lot of money and I want my child to get brought over to the US, have a better life, and then eventually we're going to come over as well.
So they'll hit up these coyotes from the drug cartels.
But they don't realize who these people are. They just think that they're there to help.
And the parents will give these coyotes $5,000 and say, hey, take my daughter to America. Oh, yeah, of course. Takes the daughter, takes the $5,000, going to America, hun. Okay, great.
But but they don't realize.
What they don't realize is, well, that $5,000, you paid a cartel $5,000 just for nothing, in a sense, to now give your child to the cartel for nothing. You paid them to take your kid from you.
For them to sell your child.
And now now your child is not only being sold for to sell drugs, to sexual traffic themselves, things like that. But now, what if one of the coyotes is like, hey, you know what? That $5,000 was actually supposed to be more like 10 or 15. So, kiddo, you're going to have to make up for that.
The parents have to work for them too. Like it's a whole ring of like.
What do you think the kids are going to have to do? Right?
We don't even want to know. You know,
whatever disgusting, fucked up thing in your mind that you could think of right now, that's what the kids are going to be having to do.
But to me, that was the really sad, like, part of the whole thing was the parents had good intentions, but they didn't realize, like, you're in a third world country. You don't know who runs the border or what's going on.
In America,
and this is what happens.
In America's safe, right? Well, guess what? There are more children sexually trafficked in America.
Brought to America.
From
other countries.
For these weirdos to take advantage of little girls and little boys. How does that make you feel?
It's happening like where we live. It's not just American children being sent over to Mexico, which is terrible. But there's also tons of children that are being brought into the United States that, you know, are supposed to be having a better life. And obviously, as we all know, is not the case.
So when we say things like, you know, in the beginning, talking about like how to generally raise a kid properly, I'm not trying to grill anyone or trying to piss anyone off. It opened up my eyes 100% to really realize, okay, where are we going and how do we get there?
And it's not everyone for themselves. It shouldn't be that way. It should be a team effort where it's like, okay, I see something doesn't look right. Whether it's, you know, somebody's in, like a little child is in someone's car that doesn't look like they're related or doesn't look like they should be together, you know, like calling for help, not getting yourself in dangerous situations when you're not qualified, but doing your part to contribute to society and not, you know, just being a bystander, because that's not what we're supposed to be doing as American citizens.
Two things. I want to talk about one subject, just to remind myself about fake identification cards. I want to talk about another thing. Is about Exactly what you're saying. Notice things. If I'm driving and I see a driver swerving and swerving and swerving and being stupid, I call it in. I don't give a damn if you're texting, driving, or whatever. You're going to harm me or somebody else, and I'm not having that. And most of the time, they do get pulled over, and I see that happen, and usually it's something stupid. They're doing something bad. So I don't want to call 911. I'll be on a record. Who gives a damn? Call. Call to report things that you see. You see a dog in a car. You're going to call for that, won't you?
But it's also police don't have, they're not superhuman. Like they can't be in a million places at once, right?
No.
They can't see everything. So if you can help and help them keep our country safe, why don't you?
Utilize it. It's there. They're dispatchers. Their job is to dispatch officers to calls. Cops are not freaking bad. What's this one guy said? If you have an issue with law enforcement, call a crackhead, right? But I do want to talk about identification cards. And how children will, some teenage kids will get a fake ID.
Especially in the U.S.
Mm-hmm. And they'll get kidnapped eventually at one point. Who knows? Whatever happens, to children. I shouldn't say it like that, but in the story time era of this, kids will get taken. They happen to have a fake ID on them. The officer will be given the fake ID, and it's just all bad from there. And you know what? A fake identification card for you teenies who are listening right now, that's a felony right there, just so you know. If you're caught.
Depending on the state.
New York City, felony. California, I believe it's a felony. Most states, felony.
And I know you want to have fun, but you can have fun at your college parties. You can have fun at home. But it really does prevent you from being safe because you are linked through if it's a fake ID, you're not in the system. You're not in the government system until you're 18 and 21. I don't know exactly. Like obviously until you turn 18, you don't have an identification card. You're not tracked properly in the government. You're not tracked properly in the US. So if you're using a fake ID with a fake name or whatever it may be, and you get lost or you get, you're wandering off by yourself or so like your parents are looking for you. Police may have found you, but they didn't know it was actually you because they don't know what your real name is. They don't know where your address is. They don't know where you're from. They don't, they don't have the actual contact info.
And now the schmuck who just took you got away with it. Isn't that cute? You could be sitting next to somebody in a car. Let's call him Tommy. Okay. Tommy's 20 years old or 21. Let's call Tommy 21. You're a 16-year-old kid. You meet up with Tommy. You've been talking to him for a while. He seems really sweet and kind and great. Oh my gosh. And then Tommy's like, hey, get in the car. We're going on a road trip. Ooh, boy, I love a road trip. And, your kids are out looking, your mom is out looking for you and things like that. You cross the border somewhere like in another state, for an example. Word hadn't gotten there yet. Cop pulls you guys over for something like a traffic stop run or whatever it may be.
And asks for your ID. And
you're too damn scared to even say anything. And you hand them a bullshit ID. And it's just
it's terrifying, honestly. Quite honestly,
not only are you being taken from some by someone who you thought you trusted, but you're also getting a felony out of it too. Isn't that cute?
Well, that and then the government can't track where you are to help bring you home.
Yeah,
so it's a very scary situation just because you wanted to have fun. And believe me, I love having fun. I think I understand the why kids want a fake ID. I get their, they
alcohol, weed,
no,
that's a big point.
No, but they also want to go out with their friends.
Alcohol.
Yeah, but they want to have it's the social aspect of it too.
Alcohol.
It's the social aspect of it. And I think I went to school in Canada, so the drinking age was 19. So I didn't really ever have a night that was never in my mind. But it is really a really, really dangerous rabbit hole that you would be going down if you
you're
got one.
16 years old putting yourself into a club that's 21 and up, and you're not only endangering yourself by obviously being harmed because your mind's not old enough to understand what flirting really is. Your mind's not old enough to understand what's comfortable and what's uncomfortable. But guess what you're also doing, asshole, 16 yourself? You're now getting people who are over 21 in big frickin' trouble. They didn't know you were a minor. You got into a big-ass club. Think of Akon by a chance.
We're not bringing Akon into this.
You're getting other. You're not only endangering your life, and you're now messing other people's lives up too. You got to be a real prick to do that.
So
just
word of advice, just don't.
Don't get a fake ID.
Just don't wait. Just wait. And if you really feel the urge to go to a club, go to Europe. Drinking age is 16 in Italy. Just go nuts. But don't do that here.
With your parents' supervision, please. Okay?
Yes, of course. Of course.
Well, I think that we should end this episode with a holy moly.
And honestly, we're just super grateful that this non-for-profit exists. They have the best of the best, Navy SEALs, private investigators on their team that are, you know what it is too? It's like they're not getting anything, like their main goal is to bring American children back home safe. And they're not related to them. They don't know them personally. It's all from the greatness of their own heart and like using the skills that they have to help better our nation and help keep our nation safe. And that's really beautiful. And I think that anyone listening to this podcast can learn from that. We have learned from that, like doing things that are not selfish, doing things that are, like bettering other people, bettering our society, bettering our country, keeping our children safe, keeping our people safe. And if you do feel inclined to donate or to help volunteer, they're always looking for volunteers in all different capacities, whether you have, the skill sets to be hands-on or, whether it's helping with their social media or helping with, their different, they have a lot of different avenues you can help volunteer with, and they'd be more than happy to help.
Yes, they also give scholarships, by the way. They've given a couple of scholarships away to those who have been runaways and taken.
And most importantly, if you're a parent or you're a close relative or friend and you're somebody close to you ran away from home or you can't find them, make sure to contact them as soon as possible because they will have all the resources possible to help bring your children home.
Yep, it's all on their website, savedinamerica.org. And once again, this is Stressful to Successful podcast, found on every single and all platforms. Be sure to check it all out. Share it with your family. Share it with your friends. This too can save you. Can save a life. And those teeny boppers out there, we're in this game here we're doing these podcasts to inspire others. And this gentleman, Joseph Travers, is definitely inspirational.
Make sure to check out last week's episode if you haven't already. Super informative and, you can really learn a lot. And I think just keeping our country safe and bettering society. And we will see you next week.
Stressful2successful.com.